Many of us grew up feeling unloved, the unloved child. And what's really important to know, what so many of us don't realize till way later in life, is A, it was never your fault, and B, you can let go of the patterns and the behaviors that you put in place to try to understand why you weren't loved. Watch this video. Welcome to my beanbag chair. I thought about making a video today and I thought, I'm super comfortable right here. Why don't I just move the camera to me and stay in my comfy zone? So we'll see how this goes. Today's video is about the unloved child. When I'm doing my coaching week to week, I tend to see a collective unconscious that wants to come to the surface. There are similar issues with everyone I'm coaching in that same week where I feel like that is coming to the surface because it needs to be talked about and understood in a deeper way. So I use that subject for my videos now. And this week, the collective unconscious issue that was being brought to light was feeling unloved as a child. Childhood wounds, the wounded child, the wounded healer. And I have a lot to say about this subject, so I'm just going to dig right in. The first thing to understand is we are love. So when we're young and we're not getting the love that we deserve or we need, we start to have an identity crisis because we start to feel like maybe we aren't who we think we are. Maybe we're not as lovable as that we feel that we are. It's not being reflected. Maybe we aren't as good as we think we are. Maybe we're not as worthy as we think we are. And it creates this identity crisis where then we start looking outside of ourselves for validation everywhere that we can find for ourselves. And really, the only way we can ever truly find that validation of self is by reawakening, reclaiming the love that we truly are. But that can be a long journey. So I'm going to explain some of it here. The first thing is, most of us who grow up feeling unloved, perhaps we did get love, but we still felt unloved. This is something very important to validate. If you feel unloved, but people said that they loved you, it's still real that you felt unloved. It could have been conditional love. It could have been abusive love. It could have been selfish love. There are many types of love that we receive that might not have felt like love for a very good reason. So validating that unloved feeling is severely important because unless we get real about how we feel, we will never heal. So it's getting real about this feeling. Understanding that many of us, as children, I'm going to say all of us as children, who didn't get the love that we really needed, made it about us. And there's a very important reason why we did this, but we decided early on that the reason I'm not getting the love that I need is because of me. There must be something wrong with me, because if it wasn't about you, it would have meant that it was your parents' fault. And if it was your parent who wasn't giving you love because of them, that would create an even deeper issue in you. And that would be survival. Fear of survival. If your parents who are taking care of you, who you need and you depend on for your survival at a young age, are not loving you because of them, there's something wrong with them, there's a wound within them, that would create a huge fear in you that you wouldn't be able to survive, and that's too much for our young minds to handle. So we choose to make it about us, because if it's about us, we can control that, we can better ourselves, we can do better, we can change, we can compromise ourselves to get the love that we need to survive in those young years. So we make it about us. We make it our fault. And this is interesting because this can bring us into a whole bunch of other issues. This can bring us into perfectionism, where we are constantly measuring ourselves against measures. How do I measure up? If I measure up and if I'm really great, then there's a potential that I will get that love that I need. If I don't measure up, then there's more self-blame. There's more perfectionism. There's more of this negative pattern that we create within ourselves, so that we can change ourselves or perfect ourselves or start measuring up in a bigger way to get that love that we really truly need. Now, the issue that happens with that pattern is you can then start noticing that you're actually measuring up quite high. You're actually quite good at a lot of things, but you're still not getting that need met. You're still not getting that love that you need. Why? And then later in life, we start waking up to the reality that maybe it had nothing to do with us. Maybe our parents are wounded. Maybe, this is a scary one, but I'll just go there. Maybe because we grew up with that, we then continue that. And this is what I mean. Many of us go into perfectionism. Many of us then go into codependency. And this is why. If I can't do anything to change myself, to get my needs met, then I can't trust myself to meet my own needs. So then I'm going to have to go out there and look to somebody else and become dependent on somebody else to fulfill my needs, because no matter what I did, wouldn't get my needs met by my parents. So now I'm going to do whatever I can to get my needs met by someone else, because we don't yet understand that we can do it for ourselves. But we're still young, right? So I'm going to go there and I'm trying to get my needs met by somebody else. And what happens then is we become dependent on that person meeting our needs. We also have to continue to do certain things to make that person happy to then give us what we need. But what happens that most people in this unloved pattern don't realize is that we are still attracting the same type of love that we had at the beginning, which is either selfish love or conditional love, because that's what we're used to. We still don't really know what real love is because we didn't get real love. So we're going to attract people who have a pattern of conditional love or selfish love, which will look narcissistic or will look unpresent a lot of the time. Check it out. Because what happens in life is we recreate this pattern to validate the first love experience. See, it was me. There was something wrong with me. Which is what a lot of us think if we date a narcissistic person or a selfish person. I can never be what they want. I can never be enough. It's very unstable. We continue this pattern until we realize that we've attracted the exact same type of love that we came from, because that's the only thing we knew, and we didn't yet realize that we truly did deserve real love. And when we start to give ourselves real love, and we start to be unconditional with ourselves, we start noticing that, I can now be conscious of who I choose to be in my space and who I choose to be in relationship with, whether it be friends or lovers. I don't have to choose that very comfortable and very familiar type of love anymore. I can actually choose something different. And even though it's going to be very uncomfortable for a while, it's going to be very beneficial to your life. To start training your attraction, training the type of people you want in your life. What starts happening is you start relearning love. You start learning that these people might actually want what's best for me because they want what's best for me. And these people want to love me regardless of what I do to get it or not. These people actually are starting to and trying to teach you that you are lovable for just being you. Not for how you acted, not for how you behaved or didn't behave, not for what you achieved or didn't achieve, not for how perfect you are or perfectly imperfect you are, but just because you're awesome, just because you're you. And when you start attracting that, allowing that into your space, you then start craving it more because it actually feels good. It actually feels right. For the first time, you get to feel who you truly are around other people on a regular basis. You get to remember that you are love, and that is unconditional. So, if you're one of these people who were born feeling unloved, it was not your fault, and it can change. And by realizing that it was never your fault, and that you can now fulfill your own needs from yourself, and then attract others who want the same for you, who want good for you, who want to lift you up and share with you, this wound will start to heal. So as we get real about how we feel, we begin to heal because we stop these patterns. We stop attracting this, we stop accepting this, and we start coming into our wholeness of love. I hope you enjoyed that. Please have a beautiful week and share and subscribe if you feel called. I'll see you soon. Namaste.